Good evening, everyone. So we'll start the session in a few minutes of time. Let's everyone join in first. And we'll continue with the methods which we were discussing in the last session regarding performance appraisals. So let's wait for everyone to join. Yes, guys, please kindly mute yourself. Okay, it's my humble request. Let me mute, I think, everyone. Yes, I have muted everyone. We'll start the class at 6:05 sharp. Okay. Yes, student, we are waiting for everyone to join. Okay, I have muted everyone as of now. Okay, we'll just unmute everyone. So student, I think just let me unmute everyone now. And please, I have a request. Please don't unmute yourself in between, okay?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Anuj. Good evening.
Okay, sir. How are you, sir? Fine.
Yes, absolutely good, sir. Like usual routine, nothing else.
But anyhow, please take care. 1 or 2 days, some voice is already, some
Yeah,
process is there in your
uh,
throat.
because sir, actually the weather is not actually okay because it's raining very heavily in the night over here and daytime it's really humid.
Yes, yes, yes. It is now changing. Weather changes, time is going on. Also,
Weather actually,
some,
yeah.
yes.
What happens actually, like I have a classes from 8 o'clock in the morning and it ends around 7:15 with you only. So like continuously I have to speak up since morning. So that may be the reason behind actually the issues with my throat.
Take warm water always, sir. 1 or 2
I
sip.
do, sir. I do.
It is better.
Yes.
And also, tulsi patta in the morning with the
Yeah,
lime.
no, yes. No, I took that actually that Tulsi drops actually.
Oh, okay.
Tulsi drops with warm water and
Lime. Yeah, yeah, hot water. It is better, sir.
yes, it's always. I'm taking since long actually, 7 to 8 years actually.
Yeah. Because in morning already some neem leaves, and I already 2 years back continues in morning.
Okay, that's great, sir. Fine, I think. Thank you so much,
Okay.
sir. Yeah, we'll start. Okay. So, students, in the last session, I think we have started with the performance appraisal methods, and we have completed with past oriented method, not complete, I think so. Force distribution we have done, critical incidents we have done, behaviorally anchored we have done, field review we have done, performance test and observation we have to start. Is it so? Yes, sir. I think field review was the last method we discussed.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
So the next part we have, that is about the performance test and observation. Okay. Now, when we discuss about the performance test and observation, what we are doing exactly, we are taking some presentation, whether it is written or oral, just want to check the knowledge of the particular employee in the organization. Now, these tests may be actually conducted in order to prove the, you could say, the reality of an individual when it's come to their knowledge upgradation. Because as you know that the organizations are always actually investing huge amount on the training and on the development of an individual. What exactly the changes which maybe you could say having in the personality or in the knowledge, in the skill set of an individual, that may be the part of your performance test and observations. Okay, and on the basis of that, definitely you will always promote, you will always appraise an individual in the organization. This is basically the system we always follow under performance appraisal. Okay, so when we talk about the performance appraisal methodology, you can see that the first one is evaluating the system. We are developing the test, creating the benchmarking, that on what percentage we will actually promote an individual, or we will provide them incentives, we'll appraise them, we'll analyze the result, validate the requirements, and will complete the engagement. Okay, so this is basically way how this particular process of performance appraisal, which includes your performance test and observation. It's very simple, I think so, students. Performance test and observation. See, we are discussing past oriented methods, okay, which is based on the data which is related to the past or the last you could say financial year, how one has performed in an organization. Clear, I think. Shall we move to the next part? Okay, student, let's move to the next part now. That is about the confidential record. It's very, very simple. Now, confidential record is basically nothing but all major information, okay, which actually constitute the data, or we may say the information which are confidential in nature. Okay, confidential in terms of maybe it may be internally or maybe externally as well. Internally, when we're talking right now, the confidential or the secret information about the company's you could say policies, when we say company's product offering, company strategy we are talking right now. So confidential record is again basically one of the way how the particular company is basically keeping the record of an individual, and how these records may be maintained by the particular company or by that particular individual in the organization without any leakage at all, or without any, you could say, processes which we talk about, without any manipulation we talk about. So in the case of confidential records, usually these things happen in industries where, like we talk about banking sector, we talk about, you could say, all the financial institutions, if we talk about the government record or the personal data of an individual in the company, when it's come to their family, when it's come to their blood report, any medical issues, whatever it could be. This is one of the most important you could say portion when it's come to keeping a record of an individual. But the important thing is that these records must be secret, and it should not reveal in any condition until and unless any unforeseen event does not occur, and the HR will take the you could say actions accordingly in the organization. That is called the confidential record based on the ACR, that is called annual confidentiality report. Haji. Because these information will not reveal to the employee, which will be submitted by the concerned authority to HR, and HR will actually hand it over to the concerned authority for evaluation. Clear?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Thank you so much. Next one we have the essay method. It's very, very simple because what we do, we always take the descriptive test of an individual based on for in order to, you could say, promote him in the organization. Now these descriptive tests may be based on some essay, some situational analysis, some you could say some sort of, you could say, extemper if we talk about analysis when it's come to sort of an individual, or whatever it could be. Means whenever we are taking any descriptive test of an individual, which is basically called the essay method. Okay, and on the basis of that, you could say essay, or on the basis of that information which is providing on a certain situation. Okay, in such a cases, the company will actually analyze the write up or the inputs given by the particular employee and analyze them about their thought process, because this essay method is basically more about the psychology, the checking of the, you could say, an individual temperament and the analytical skills, the decision making skills, okay, on the basis of given situation in the case study. Okay, so that is basically the part of your essay method. Clear? It's very simple, I think, students. There is a one template we have. This is basically the essay method appraisal. Okay, like they have given certain sort of, you could say, questions, and on those questions they need to discuss and comment on that. Means you are giving your own opinion, you are giving your own judgments on the basis of all such information. That is called the essay performance appraisal method. Please try to understand, student. Whatever method we are discussing, it's very, very deep actually. You can discuss, you can go through in details. Okay, if you need any help, definitely I'm always available to help you out. Anji, essay method is clear, I think. Essay performance appraisal method.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Then we have cost accounting method. Now, cost accounting method, basically, I think you might have gone through with the cost accounting chapters or not, as I don't know. But cost accounting is basically one of the most important and vital tool, which is based on the internal analysis of a company. Whatever cost which the company is basically incurring, or you could say investing in the organization, in terms of human resource, in terms of financial resource, in terms of materials. Okay, we can talk about these, basically the cost which the company is incurring in the organization, and what benefits and return which they are generating out of it. So the basic cost accounting methodology in the purview or in the context of the you could say appraisal methods, it is basically associated with the cost and benefit analysis, and these cost and benefit analysis are directly associated with the returns which the company is generating out of the total cost company has invested. That is cost accounting method. And definitely, I think, I don't know whether how many of you know the tools of cost accounting, but the cost accounting is basically most, you could say, important tool for analysis on various parameters. Okay, when we discuss about the labor costing, we talk about material costing, we talk about overhead costing, we talk about, you could say, batch costing. There are so many methods we have which comes under costing analysis.
I think, sir, upper level is cost accounting method using upper level for the upper level.
Definitely, sir. Definitely. And basically, sir, this is mainly used for material, labor,
Yeah.
budgets. Yes. Because
Yes,
I
sir.
think in your syllabus there is no, you could say, part of accounting, because no financial accounting, no cost accounting we have. So I think we are
Okay,
very restricted.
because upper level is the responsible for all, no, sir.
Definitely, definitely.
That's why this method is applied on that
Yes, yes,
persons.
yes. Because the cost accounting method, because I don't know how many of you have ever gone through with the cost accounting. Definitely, financial accounting is very common in graduation time or even the PG as well. So, cost accounting basically is the one of the most important tool for internal efficiency. Okay, when it's come to labor, when it's come to material, when it's come to overhead.
Sir, can I add something?
Yeah, please, Rahul.
So in other terms, now in factories, this word count as a head count.
Okay.
Second term we use as a head count.
Head com. Okay.
Yes, sir. Head count. This is the employee counting. Na? It is the head count.
Head counts. Okay. Okay. Yes. 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 So
Okay.
what exactly the head counting is all about, Rahul?
Sir, it's dependent on the strength of the company. There's the fixed cost and variable cost. So the head count is totally depend on the fixed cost. If the
Okay.
company is run or stop, there is the fixed cost is same. And major part is the head count. Head count means it's the salary, which is the basic liability of the company.
Yes. 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 Understood. Yes. Yes. Well, like even like if you have gone through with your study and like ever you got a chance to go for cost accounting, it's very interesting subject actually, and it will actually give you a very good analytical inside analytics about the company's cost management, company's budget management. It also includes the CVP analysis, the cost, volume, and profit analysis. Okay, that is a major tool which we use under cost accounting methods.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Based on this, now we are calculated MTP, OB budget, MTP based on this.
Yes. Correct. Okay. Fine, guys. So let's move to the next part then. That is, there we have the comparative valuation method that is called the ranking and paired comparison. Now, when we discuss about the ranking method, ranking means out of the total employees, we are actually giving certain rank. Their rank may be equal as well, depends on their performance. And on the base of the ranking only, we are giving appraisal. Okay, so first we are discussing about the ranking method. That is, superior rank is order based on the merit from the best to worst. And however, the how best and why best are not elaborated in this method. Okay, but somehow like giving the ranking to an individual, it's much more easier. But important thing is that whenever we are following the ranking method, these ranking method must be backed up by some sufficient references or sufficient documentation that why someone has associated or allocated a certain degree of ranking. So that is called the ranking method. Next, we have paired comparison method. Pair comparison means whenever we are comparing two employees with each other. Okay, like I'll just show you the example. You can see that. Paired comparison method. Okay, like when we are comparing two individuals on the basis of certain traits. Okay, this is basically called the comparison of A to B, A to C, A to D, B to C, B to D, C to D, and whatever it could be. Okay, so whenever we are comparing, like for example, in your organization, you have a two potential individuals available, those who are actually most suitable for a particular position in the organization. Okay, now yeah, definitely you need to select only one. What you will do, you will select a criteria, a comparative analysis between these two on certain grounds. You would, let us suppose 10 points. On that 10 pointer, who is better? And then definitely we'll count the score. And then we can actually analyze that which particular individual is better as compared to the other one. I hope that is clear. The paired comparison in the ranking method.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Gauri, please, I think your voice is not clear. Actually, your pitch is very low.
Hello.
Yes, Gauri, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to know why is it called paired comparison? Because here we are only comparing. Why is the word paired used along with comparison?
See, paired means we are comparing two individuals at a time.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks.
Sir, can I say something?
Yeah, please, Rahul.
Sir, when we go for the group grading, some if section having the 60 or 70 employees there, and we did the performance appraisal for all the same. That time we use this type of paired comparison. And based on this chart, we give the rating out of 50 employees or out of 100 employees, the 10% or 15% having the much higher grade.
Yes,
And
yes.
know that 45, 25, there's the some ratio is portion as based on the your policies, company policies.
Yes, yes. Definitely, definitely. It's true. Because somehow what happened actually, because we actually just take the list of all the individuals to whom you want to compare. Okay. And according to that, you will actually note down the options that on what ground you want to compare the individuals.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then you will score and then you will compare the individual accordingly. Haji. Clear, I think, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Because see, student, try to understand. This is only just I'm giving you a glimpses of all this method. But when you will go through in detail, I told you this is a topic of HR analytics. Okay. So if you'll go through in detail, definitely you may find a lot of varieties and a lot of, you could say, technical aspect of all these methods. Right now, we are discussing only in very simple and short what is paired comparison. But if you want to actually enhance your knowledge for the same, definitely you must have to opt for HR analytics. Okay.
But sir, this method we use in production also, na?
Definitely.
First we make the gradings and this proposition, and that we submitted it to HR finally.
Because actually, Rahul, this basically method works on the scoring criteria.
Yes, sir. Exactly, sir. Yes.
Okay. And I think if you might remember, the psychometric tests are also there under this. Okay, so there
Yes,
are a lot of parameter which may be considered, because there are other tests are also subpart of this particular final
yes.
evaluation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So this is the one part. There is some criteria is also there. 20 to 25 points is there, and out
Yes,
of
yes.
25, 1 point is this.
And definitely, Rahul, it's very important that because it's an ocean actually. It's up to you, up to what extent you can learn something. Even me as well, like being a finance guy who's more inclined towards finance, definitely we have a very basic knowledge about that. But if you want to become the expert, not expert, we can say much more proficient, much more knowledgeable in the field, definitely you need to go in depth.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yes, yes, yes. Next one, I think we can go for then future oriented method. We are done with the first half of the methods, that is past oriented method. If you remember, we have to discuss this two basis method. Okay, past oriented method we are done. Now future oriented methods. Okay, which is based on the analysis on the basis of future course of action. So we'll start now. That is future oriented method. Now, there are basically four methods we have, I think, under this future-oriented method. The first one we have, which is called management by objective. Okay. Now, what this management by objectives? This is basically one of the method in which you are actually giving a clear indication, a clear idea about what exactly the company is expecting from the individuals, and according to that they are selecting the criteria, they are giving them certain sort of, you could say, route map in the company, and on the basis of those route maps basically the employees are working in those directions. Okay, that is a very basic concept regarding the management by objectives. Okay, now basically there are basically four parameters on which this MBO exactly works. That is, the first one is called your establishing goal and desired outcome for each subordinates. Okay, so when we discuss about, as I told you, that under MBO, the route map or the path how one will proceed in the company in order to achieve success, it is clearly, you could say, elaborated to each and every individual, each and every subordinate in the company, that what are their roles and responsibility in the organization and what the company is expecting out of them. Second point, performance standard. Once you have given the clarity to each and every individual what exactly their roles and responsibility in the organization, according to that particular part, you are setting the parameters, you are setting the barometer, I can say as well, that will actually work as a yardstick, as you could say a particular target for an individual to achieve, and on the basis of those target one will get motivated, or one will enforce himself, or one we have the inner actually, you could say, stimulus to achieve something, whatever it is being elaborated or communicated by the top management to concerned employee. Next one, comparison. It's very simple because we are comparing on the basis of what exactly one's done, what are their loopholes, where they are lacking behind, what are the what type of skill improvement which we are looking after. That is the assessment part, that is comparison. And once the company has actually you could say evaluated the performance of an employee, you will actually decide the customized strategy for an individual, for the employee in the next financial year, and you will guide them accordingly, because you want everyone to improve day by day, year by year in the organization. That is a very important strategy which is based on future oriented method called MBO. You can see that example as well. That is planning, monitoring, and appraisal. I hope so. It is very, very simple and most practical way how the companies actually work, or how the companies are working in the market when it's come to performance appraisal by MBO method. Hanji, have a look please of this particular process of MBO, which I've explained you already. Hanji, is it clear everyone? Any doubt in this MBO? Management by objectives. Any query to anyone, please?
What is this setting control points in the planning?
Planning, we have controls. See, setting control points is basically all about the upper and lower limit of an individual performance check. Okay, for example, let us suppose if I am doing some research work on my topic of financial performance of the banking, and in such a cases, definitely the company has actually given certain criteria to me on the basis of my research. Definitely, what would be the outcome of my research? We never know. But there should be some expected minimum value or minimum performance and the maximum performance we are looking after from the individual. And that is basically called the control points. Like similarly, Ms. Poonam, I think this happens in the sales industry as well. Okay. You always decide the minimum performance and maximum performance from an individual. Or
Yes.
rather to use optimum performance, I think so.
Okay.
That is setting
Thank you.
control points. Yes, yes, yes. Hanji.
Yes, sir, no query.
No query. Anything else to students? Shall we move to the second point, I
Yes.
think? Shall we? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Second, we have the psychological appraisals now. Now, when we discuss about the psychological appraisal, we are actually focusing on the traits of an individual or the presence of an individual in the organization, evaluating them on the basis of their focus towards the work. If you can see that this picture right now on the top, flexibility, attention, memory, speed of working, and the creativity in the company. So what exactly we are talking right now? We are actually analyzing an individual on the basis of some psychological parameter or some psychological testing. Now, these basically testing includes employees' emotional, intellectual, motivational, and other characteristics which may affect the performance. The most important part, which comes under psychological appraisal, that we are actually promoting, we are actually giving a cushion to an individual in the company based on the you could say more practical parameters or more practical line items which may create a particular impact for the long run. Because always remember, these psychological appraisals are basically more about understanding of the top management or understanding the observer, how he or she perceives and how he or she is actually directing the individual in terms of their performance improvement. Okay, so psychological appraisals are basically more, you could say, intent or inclined towards you could say the in-depth interview, psychological test, and discussion with supervisor and review of other evaluation on the basis of these parameters. Okay, because this is this technique of psychological appraisal is an ongoing process, and the observation, review, and the assessment which is being done by the manager, it is basically more a live approach or lively approach, we can say, on daily basis about the attention, about the interest of an individual in the company, how focused he or she is, what about their fatigue level, what about their motion study. Everything counts when it's come to psychological appraisal, because we definitely use the Taylor's principle in this particular case, the Taylor's scientific principles. Hanji, is this clear? Psychological appraisal.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Let's move to the next part then. There is assessment centers. Assessment centers are basically very simple. It is a location where you will actually train the individual. You will actually go for their assessment. That is a final assessment of the appraisal. So it is basically more about the various activities where the appraisal would actually being initiated or formulated. And on the basis of that particular training center or assessment center, you will decide upon how exactly one can actually promoted in the company based on their performances. So as you can see right now on this particular case, whenever we're discussing about the performance appraisal, these are the basic methodology or basic method which we always use under assessment center. Okay, that is about the role play, group discussion, projective techniques, case study, competency interview, basket exercises. Okay, so these are basically most common assessment actually which we do, and these methods or the number of method which we have under assessment center, it varies from company to company based on their requirements. See, again, this assessment center and the method which we use, again, it's a very in-depth topic. Okay, we are just only discussing what are the assessment center and where we are actually analyzing the employees in the organization. So it is more about, we can say, the multi-assessment approach, not about a single approach may fruitful to decide upon whether we need to promote an individual or not in the company. So that is basically the assessment center which we have, which is basically used by the companies to assess an individual on from various angles, we can say. That is called assessment centers. Is this clear, I think, everyone? Assessment centers. And the last method we have then 360-degree review.
Yes, sir, clear.
Clear? Perfect. Next one, we have 360-degree feedback mechanism. Now, 360-degree method is again a multidimensional approach, first of all, in which we are evaluating the performance of an individual, not from the top management only, but we are taking the reviews or we are taking the feedbacks of the inputs from employees, from the managers, from their colleagues, from the customer, from the top management. So it is basically one of the most practical and viable technique, we can say, because this technique always avoid the biasness, or always avoid the, you could say, manipulation in terms of the appraisal of an individual. So it's very, very important that whenever we are talking about the 360-degree feedback mechanism, it is basically the inputs or feedback from all those concerned entities, those who are directly or indirectly associated with the employee in the organization. And according to that, you will review, you will assess, and give your comments on that. And accordingly, the appraisal would be done in the organization. Okay. So this is basically method. You can see that effective staff performance, the 360-degree appraisal method, which is from the various angle we actually collect the information, and on the basis of the information we evaluate and we actually compare and you could say provide the best possible appraisal result, or best possible, you could say, appraisal to an individual in the organization. So this is basically the last method under future oriented appraisal method. हाँ जी.
Sir, hello.
Yes, yes, Gauri, please.
Yeah. How much area in this circle, how much area does the HR covers, how much the manager and how much the employees? Like there are three indications in the diagram. So how will we explain this?
See, basically, like when we discuss about the percentage of information which we collect, whether it's customer, yeah, or we can say that whether it is external user or internal users, it totally depends on the company's policy, that on what ground you, because what make sure always, because whenever the company is actually deciding about their 360-degree appraisal review or their methods, it is very, very important that the proportion should be balanced, first of all. Like definitely, because we are, when we are talking about the balancing between the taking feedback from their colleagues or from the from the managers, from their, you could say, immediate bosses, from the customers, or maybe any other entity we can talk about, because the balancing should be there, but there is no, actually we can say, the thumb rule, like 30 30 40 or whatever proportion we're talking right now. There is no thumb rule for that, but still it depends on the company's HR policies or HR mechanism, how company actually balance this inputs from different entities.
Okay, so now it says that this 360-degree performance appraisal method depends on HR, manager, and the employees themselves as well.
Definitely, definitely, yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, yeah, please, pleasure. Hanji, is it clear, everyone?
Yes.
Perfect. Let's move to the. Now, I think we have almost done these methods. Now, only few more topics are left. It's more theoretical now. That is about the ethics of performance appraisal. Okay. Now, first one, that is ethics of procedure, because as we know that whenever we talk about performance appraisal, there may be a possibility that the HR department may be biased, may be manipulative, may be influenced from the top management or from the particular concerned individuals as well. But the most important part, the ethics which the HR department must have to follow during the procedural aspect of deciding that the appraisals method or appraisal mechanism or the process should be error free and ethical. These are the basic 7 points we have. The first one we are discussing right now, the former standardized performance appraisal system. Formal means it should be based on certain scientific grounds. Uniform for all, no illegal differentiation based on caste and religion. Standards formally communicated to all employees in advance so that they will actually work according to that in their future course of action. Freedom to review performance appraisal result. Definitely no one is bound or no one is influenced to give their inputs in such a cases. Formal appeal process about ratings and judgments. Written instruction and training to the raters, definitely on what grounds, how you need to rate, how you need to actually give the feedback of the performances. And then all personal decision maker should be aware of any anti-discrimination law. Okay, so these are the basic 7 points which comes under procedural or ethical procedural aspect of performance appraisal. Is this clear, everyone? Anji, shall we move? But now I think the core part of this chapter we have discussed, that is the methods. Now only few topics, subsidiary topics to the left now. Fine, guys. Let's move to the ethics of content. Please have a look, students. It's very, very simple topic now. Let me know if any point to discuss right now, because the content means basically the content of job analysis or analysis parameters, which should be ethical as well. Okay, please have a look.
Sir, second one, trade-based appraisal should be avoided.
Yeah, traits based appraisal should be avoided. Trait means basically because traits are basically more subjective. Okay, for example, if I'm talking about the personality type, okay, or about the attitude of an individual, so somehow you always need to avoid the trait based appraisal. There should be, whenever you're appraising someone, there should be some scientific ground behind that. Or if you are actually considering any subjective criteria, there should be a method through which you can convert those subjective values or subjective parameters into numbers. Otherwise things would be very, very you could say we can say unclear, as well as things should not be transparent as well. In such a cases, things may not be transparent, I think. Yes, so it should be crystal clear from the perspective of the HR department.
Okay, sir. Okay.
I hope so it's clear. I think it's very, very simple.
So what do you mean by the fourth point?
Gauri, which point?
Fourth one.
Fourth point.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Constraints on performance beyond control should be prevented. See, basically, like as we know that there are certain, you could say, parameter or certain, you could say, assessment which is based on market condition or which is based on government policies. Okay, so always remember, whenever we are considering the parameters, the points to consider for appraisal, these points must be internally controlled, not externally controlled. Because if something which is related to market, definitely on those grounds, definitely even the company do not have any control when if it goes in this in the opposite direction. For an example, let us suppose any legal laws or any law changes when it's come to employee working hours. For an example, now if the government has changed the working hours for a particular industry or for a particular sector, and definitely one of the criteria about the output or the productivity in the company based on the number of working hours, and what about the productivity or the output once has achieved. For example, it reduced from 8 hours to 6 hours. Now, according to that, definitely it is uncontrollable from the perspective of the company as well. So that is basically the constraints of performance should be designed in such a manner so that the HR manager or even the department or the management must have control over it when in case if we need to do any adjustments or corrections.
Okay, sir.
Yes. So this would be the content which we prepare for job analysis or or the preparation of the appraisal. Anji.
Okay, sir.
Next one we have the ethics of documentation of results. Okay, and the ethics of the raters. We basically done nothing but the ethical policy we're talking right now. When it comes to documentation, job analysis, the raters, what are the guidelines they need to follow, everything should be properly mentioned. Hanji. It's very, very simple actually. Okay. Then we have last two topics now. Shall we move, I think, students?
One minute, sir.
Yeah, sure, sure. Please, please, please. If you have any query, please let me know. Okay, we can discuss.
Sir, the ethics of raters having the 7 point, the second point is not mandatory. Na?
The rater must have opportunity to observe ratees firsthand and review important ratee performance. Yeah, see, it depends. It depends. As I told you already, it depends on the HR policies actually.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Rahul. I think, shall we move to the next part? I think if it is clear.
So in third point, the use of more than one rater is desirable. So if the more than one rater is desirable, so their observation technique will be same.
Yes. Agenda is same, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, for example, let's suppose like it's very common, like at the end of financial year after March, there is always having to say review process is always going on in the company, because at that period of time, people switch their jobs, people left the job, they actually expect the increment in their salary structure, whatever it could be. The assessment is done uniformly for all the employees based on the level. Actually, at a different level, definitely they have different assessment, but at a particular level, the assessment procedure would be similar.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Fine. Shall we move to the next slide?
Okay.
And
Yes, sir.
next one we have the organizational support factor for performance appraisal system. Okay. So I think there are basically three major, there are three major categories actually, which comes under performance appraisal methodology, because there are basically defender, prospectors, and analyzers. Okay. The three basic category of individuals, those who are giving their perspective about the performance appraisal of an individual or performance appraisal method contribution which they are providing. Okay. Now, when we discuss about the organizational support, but as we know that this particular methodology is an integrated effort of you could say the different employees working in the organization. It is not basically a one-way process or a unilateral process in the company. It is a collective, you could say, assessment of the data or the inputs which you have received from the different categories of individuals in the organization. As of now, in the language of HR, we can say we have basically three different categories for the same. One is called defender, second is called prospector, and third is called analyzers. Okay, now who are they first of all, and what category they belongs to? The first one is defender. Now, what is defender in the case of performance appraisal, if anyone can explain?
So they act as a defenders in hiding the.
Yes. Defenders are basically more about like going for polishing.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Yes, any example, please? I think that would be far better to understand the defender part.
So if someone performance is not good, but they promote them as a good employee or anything.
Yes.
So that is that all I know.
Okay. Anyone else? I think defenders.
So they may produce bias in rating skills.
Definitely, yes. Very good. Basically, when we discuss about the defenders, these are individuals basically, they always actually more reluctant in the company, first of all. And whenever it comes to the appraisals, they always actually like, because sometimes what happens, because if they are underperformed or average performer in the company, they always want to prove that they have actually done some, you could say, hard work, or they have given the good contribution to the company when it's come to the company's growth. But the actual reality is quite different. Okay. So they are, you could say, more about situational based individuals, according to the situation, according to the, you could say, the we can say,
Sir, we can say mouth publisher.
like how we can define that.
Sir, in terms of that, they didn't do any great job, but at the time of appraisal time and there's the and the year ending or something in the starting beginning of the year, that time they shows that they have a lot of knowledge. They did lot of work for the improvement of the company, and always he tried to take team efforts
Yes, yes.
responsibility in his own shoulder.
Definitely, definitely. Because when we discuss about this particular defender strategy or how the defender actually controls the situation in the system.
Can I say something?
Yeah, sure, sure, Mr. Anush, please, please.
Basically, both of, for example, two employees there in the company, and needs of employee, both of employee for the company. But one employee is the correct way, and another employee is slightly not a correct way, but he is having the capability. Hello.
Yes, yes, yes.
Then company provides some policing or some training to the second person, because need of the company of both of them.
Yes.
This is the defender side, because company need both of them.
Yes.
This is the thing. Actually is the correct thing, I think so.
Basically, like in the nutshell, if we'll talk about this defender strategies, they are basically the one who always actually play safe in the market. Okay. They always want, even the market is stable or even the company is going good, they always actually play with a conservative role, or they always not aggressive in the company. They always want that the operation with the company is performing right now, that should be up to the mark. They are not basically risk taker, we can say, in the company. Okay, these are called the defenders or defender strategies.
Okay.
Second point, we have prospectors. Okay, the prospectors are basically the opportunity seeker. Okay, they always want to emerge. They always want to make certain, you could say, few new inputs, some new information. They always want to focus on the company's outcome on ground, in the market, in the with the competitors. So the prospectors are basically the more dynamic. They are moderatively aggressive, we can say, when it's come to the company's approach, and they always want the continuous improvement in the company when it's come to result, and they always work result orientation as well. So it is basically, we can say, prospectors are the one who are creator, innovator in the company, and they are the risk taker as well.
Just like a volunteer of the company, sir.
Yes, definitely. Okay. Then the last one, we have analyzers. Okay, analyzers are basically more about the observer, we can say, in the company. Those actually their work is just to monitor, just to observe how company can upgrade themselves, how the company can improve the skill level of an individual, how the company can actually become more competitive in the market, how the company can achieve more market share in the next upcoming year. So they are the one who are basically focusing on the external component of the company, and according to the external component, they are implementing strategies in the organization. That is called the analyzers. I hope so it is clear, students. Defender, prospectors, and analyzers. Anji, is this clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So let's move to the next part then. Now, when we discuss about the just three basic, you could say, performance appraisal mechanism, we have feedback mechanism, we have consistency between strategy and the job behavior, and consistency between value and the job behavior link. Means how the performance appraisal system having the strategic importance in the system. Okay, have a look, please. And student, just give me 1 minute of time, please. Kindly read it till the time. Yes, student, sorry for the interruption in between. So the first one, I think we have the three basic strategic importance of this particular performance appraisal. That is feedback mechanism. It is very simple because that is the basic purpose. That the feedback mechanism is the one of the most important tool through which we are actually taking the input from the various entities in the company, and according to that, the company is basically analyzing and evaluating the values, and they are actually deciding the appraisal criteria. Then the consistency between strategy and the job behavior. Strategy means the policy, the you could say the pathway. Okay. On the basis of that, whether the behavior of an individual is according to that or not, that is about the controlling factor, if you remember in the MBO we discussed. Okay. And the last one we have the consistency between the value and the job behavior. Okay. Value means output. Value means the addition or the contribution of an individual in the organization, and what actually the we can say the contribution of an individual when it's come to the growth of the company. That is called the you could say the relationship between the job behavior and the value of the company. It's very, very simple actually. Hanji student, is it clear everyone?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Then we have the next and the very easy topic now, that is essentials of good performance appraisal. What should we follow when it's come to when the company need to decide a very transparent appraisal systems or transfer appraisal method. Please have a look. It's very, very simple. I think it's very simple. We have discussed this part, I think.
So what do you mean by halo effect?
See, halo effect, there are basically two types of effect we have in the case of HRM. I think we discussed this part, halo effect and horn effect. Okay. Halo effect is basically when you are judging an individual on the basis of very limited characteristics, and you are overrating an individual. Like for example, someone looks really good, very fantastic. Okay. And on the basis of that physical attribute only, you are giving them appraisal, irrespective of the output which they have provided in the financial year. That is halo effect. And when you are actually negatively rated, because if the performance of the individual is not that worst, but still you are rating that particular individual in a worse sense, that is called horn effect. So that we need to avoid, overrating and underrating.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes, it is called halo and the horn effect. I think we have discussed this halo and horn effect, I think in OB or HRM, I think so initially, might be, I don't know.
Sir, in HRM also you discuss it.
Yes, we discuss this part.
Yes.
Anji, any query to anyone? It's very, very simple.
Sir, can I say?
Yeah, please, please.
So the halo effect is dependent one movie which is Aitraj.
Yes, yes, very good.
Yes.
Very good example.
Yes.
Anji, is it clear, everyone? Shall we move to the next part?
Yes, sir.
Then problems of rating now. Okay. The major challenges or the loopholes we talk about when it comes to ratings. So that is the part of your problems of rating. So leniency, central tendency means they have a very limited thinking approach. Halo error we discussed. Rater effect, maybe because rater may be actually biased in terms of giving their view about that. Primary and recency effect. Recency means basically all about you are actually keeping the other factors in mind rather to focus on the content which is given to you in the policies of rating, which we discussed as well, the ethical policies. Perception is one of the part. Performance dimension order. Basically, it may be possible that someone want to rate an individual on the base of out of context, which is not mentioned in the policy. That maybe you could say one of the rating error we may talk about. It was limitation of the policy. We can say about of the performance appraisal. Spillover effect. What is spillover effect? Anyone? Then status effect is very common actually. What is spillover effect? That is about creating an image of an individual in mind. Like for example, a worker working in the company since last 3 years and the performance is below average always. So you presume always that the worker will always below average irrespective of the number of years which he or she will work in the company. That is called spillover effect. Means it is basically more about a biased approach, we can say, when it's come to you are actually determining an individual characteristics that he or she will continue in the same manner what they have performed in the past. That is called spillover effect. That is again the one of the rating error, rating biasness. I hope that is clear, students. The problems of ratings, the challenges of raters.
Yes, sir.
Then I think this is not the part of a syllabus. The incentive-based competition not a part of a syllabus now. That is done actually, students. About this syllabus as well. Now the only part which is left, only the exercise, one case study, and I think today I have shared with you one task actually. That task is for tomorrow only, so that you need to complete. Okay. Haji. So any more doubt?
Task is tomorrow for tomorrow, na sir?
Yes, for it is for tomorrow. So we'll discuss both the part in tomorrow's class only.
Okay, sir.
Clear?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Perfect.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Please take care.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Take
चल रहे भैया ना